What you want? Welcome to another edition of Bass East Basscast. On the phone with us right now, we have FLW Pro Dave Wolak. Dave's off to a super good start on the FLW Tour this year. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man. How's it going? How's everybody doing?
Everybody's doing well. How about at your house?
Oh, getting really busy here for Easter. We had some friends come down from Pennsylvania, so we got 4 extra kids at the household for the weekend, so it'll be a busy time.
Awesome.
But fun. But very fun.
Well, we're kind of getting out of the spawn, getting into the post-spawn time of year, and wanted to kind of get some of your thoughts on how to approach it.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Baseball season is just beginning, and it's already going to be post-spawn. It's kind of good in a way, but depressing in a way. I can't say depressing totally. Post-spawn's fun. It's just that, sometimes post-spawn could be a kind of a confusing time to catch those big ones again. And I've had very successful events, and then have had events where I just didn't feel like I captured the moment quite as good as I could. But now I'll talk a little bit, I guess. I think that post-spawn, generally the biggest decision that you have to make is you have to determine whether the majority of the bigger females have moved out, away from shore, offshore, on structure, points, or just ledges, wherever, or if they're still kind of hanging around the bank, and you have to fish through the males to get the females, just kind of immediately post-spawn. And I guess I've used both in my repertoire over the years, in terms of coming into a tournament with a strategy. And that had both successes and failures. But I think once you determine that, and you gauge your strategy based on either hanging around the bank or just solely fishing offshore, or sometimes a little of both, you could make a better event out of a post-spawn tournament.
What? Yeah, I mean, I know, a lot of people talk about, catching the males while they're guarding fry and stuff like that. But we had a conversation today about a special bait that you kind of use to help find and catch some of those big females.
Yeah, I think that, over the years, we're, of course, in the tournament atmosphere, you're always gauged on catching big fish. Everybody wants to catch those females, and, of course, that's what you need in tournaments. And I think that one of the baits, I'll give you 2 of the baits. 2 of the baits that have been really successful, especially when fish are still hanging on the bank, is both a swim jig and a frog. And you know me with the swim jig. I really incorporated that into my arsenal. I use the swim jig a lot. I use the title shot jig a lot, swimming around any kind of horizontal cover and just kind of moving through water fast, and trying to catch those fish with that aggressive bite. And the bladed swim jig is also very good too. But another real, dominant big fish catching bait is a frog. And the new Jackall Iobi frog has been awesome from the onset of this year for me. The thing about it is it was introduced at ICAST last year, and I got some time to play with it in the fall. But not a tremendous amount of time, and I've had, a couple weeks under my belt here. I mean, because we've had such a warm winter, it's really, in North Carolina, it's already post-spawn in a lot of places, and I've been out fishing around the house. And, of course, the last FLW tournament was right on the spawn, and some pre-spawn, and even some post-spawn fish as well. And that frog itself is a really good post-spawn frog, I've noticed, because it's kind of a stealthy, low profile. When I say low profile, it stays low in the water, and that's one of the characteristics for the post-spawn finesse type of frog that I like. Is because number one, I can walk it in the same place, and if you have a ball of fry, or if you have even a bed, and you're fishing a frog over a bed, and sometimes a frog is a great bed bait when you're just covering, throwing at light spots and things like that, because you can keep that bait right in the same place. And it stays low profile in the water, and walking it back and forth, it's kind of like a little walking bait, like a spook or something like that. And that characteristic, keeping it in the same place, is very important in the post-spawn, because it's just keeping that fish feed into it for a longer period of time. And I actually have a pretty good story for you. I was out fishing with Dustin Wilkes I'm not going to say the name of the lake because it's our secret honey hole around here. It's unbelievable, this lake. I actually, I actually put a couple pictures on Facebook, and I'm going to tell you the whole story and get y'all to help me, hopefully, on this. We have this lake that is, like, when we want to go test lures or we want to just go out and just flat out lay a beat on some big fish, it's unbelievable. There's giants in there. So my whole idea is, because I have company for Easter, I was going to go out and catch some crappie and have a good fish fry here. So Dustin's like, oh, yeah, we'll go out and we'll fish, catch some crappie, we'll bass fish a little bit. And, of course, every time I turn my head, I hear the bloop, bloop, bloop frog behind me. I'm like, come on, dude, man, you're supposed to be catching crappie for me here. And then, of course, he catches a couple, and he catches a couple big ones, so then I can't handle it, and I got to pick up the frog, and I start throwing it around. So I caught 2 little ones, and then I caught one that I'm saying was 10 pounds. Now, the picture was on Facebook, and I had a ton of people asking me about it. So go to my Facebook page and take a look at it. I say it's 10 pounds. Dustin said he'd give me 9. And his whole theory behind it, now see, he's quickly forgetting the fact that the last time we fished in a little tournament against each other was at Sharon Harris, and I caught a 10-3, so I know that he knows that I know what a 10-pounder looks like. But he's saying it's a 9-pounder. So go on there and put a vote on there and see what you say, if it's 10 or if it's 9. And I guess I got to give something back to everybody if it's not 10. So here's what I vowed to do. If you vote that it's not a 10-pounder, I will wear a Dustin Wilkes jersey the next time we go out and fish on this lake and take pictures and post them on there. And if it is 10, I don't know if Dustin will wear my jersey, but I'll wear something else stupid. Let's put it that way. I'll maybe wear a Napoleon Dynamite vote for Pedro shirt or something like that. Take some pictures. How's that sound?
Gotcha. That sounds like that'll be a hoot. I've seen the pictures of the fish. I don't think you gotta worry too much about wearing Dustin's jersey.
Well, his whole theory behind it is that I said it's a 10, and he said, well, the fish in this lake look like they're 10, but they're not 10. I said, how does it look like it's 10, but it's not 10? I said, why wait a minute here, and they look like they're 12, and they're actually 9 something. I said, I don't know, dude. This fish still has a big belly. It's still pre-spawn, I think. And point being is we pretty much smashed him, and we also caught enough crappie for our fish fry. But at the same time, he took some other pictures, and we, throughout the course of the day, we're like grumpy old men out there. I mean, I get the question all the time, what happens when 2 bass pros, get on a John boat or something like that and go out fishing? And I'll tell you what happens. It's 2 guys that end up, barking at each other all day. He kept telling me that put the spinning rod down and we're trolling. See, our key thing for trolling for catching the crappie is to just troll aimlessly with a little crappie crankbait down the middle of the lake. And they seem to just be out hovering in the middle of nowhere. So I kept getting hung because I was using 7-pound sunline on a spinning rod with this little crappie crankbait. And he's throwing like 20-pound test or something and kept ripping the hooks out. So I kept yelling at him that he's ripping the hooks out of all the fish's mouth and losing them. And he kept yelling at me that I kept getting hung on the bottom because the crankbait was diving too deep. So I made, the thing is, I made the critical adjustment necessary to catch those big crappie, and I switched to the hot candy corn colored beetle spin, and that was
that did it in.
So we ended up getting a bunch of crappie, and then right about at the end of the day, a thunderstorm rolled in, and he's like, "Oh, we better go in." And then, of course, he's like, "Let me just throw a frog down this bank." And I'm still trying to catch crappie, and he caught one about 8 pounds, and I said, come on. So I picked up the frog, I started throwing again. I caught one 3, and he's like, see? And he put the 3-pounder that I caught in the mouth of the 7 or 8-pounder that he caught, and I took a picture of that. So I'll post that picture as well. And the 2 grumpy old men ended up packing it up and getting rained out. But it was a fun day, and we do that every so often just to kind of get back to our roots, and I guess that's what it's really all about.
Keeping some balance in the game, right?
Yeah, you got it, buddy. You got it.
Well, look, we'll definitely get this thing going on Facebook. We'll let the fans decide whether it was a 10 or a 8 or whatever. But we might be onto something for a TV show too. Grumpy Old Bass Pros. I think we could get a lot of guys to be on that show, right?
Yeah, the thing about Dustin is in order to get a full day out of him, to really get the grumpiness, you got to call him early in the morning. He's not the earliest riser on the planet, so if I call it about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I want to get the ball rolling, he's just rolling out of bed, and he already staying. I start him off in the super grumpy mood right off the bat in the morning. So next time we go out, I'm going to definitely get him up extra early, so he's extra grumpy, and maybe I'll record a couple little clips and put them on there.
Absolutely, man. It sounds like it's going to be fun. Hey, tell Jess and Jake happy Easter, and we will talk to you soon, man.
All right, sounds good. Happy Easter, everybody.
Hey, this has been another edition of Bass East Bass Cat.